Okay, so this is my first time posting on here, and this happened a couple of hours ago, and I'm still kind of scared, to be completely honest. So a bit of backstory: I'm a female in a small town that is considered to be quite safe. I decided to have dinner at McDonald's with my dad. So we get into the McDonald's, everything is great. We order and sit down at a table. We're just talking to each other for a while before a guy sits down across from us. He has no food, nothing. Just his phone. He will not stop staring at me. Our food arrives and I stop worrying about the guy and start to eat. A few minutes later, I hear the sound of a photo being taken, that click kind of thing when you take a picture on your phone with the sound on. I quickly turn around and look at the guy who has his phone angled at me and is now meeting my gaze. I turn away, trying not to think about it before I hear another click. I don't dare to look this time. My dad wasn't paying attention and would tell me I was full of shit if I said anything, so I didn't. We finished up our food and the guy left. So, creepy guy from McDonald's, let's not meet. This happened maybe 3 years ago. It was my little sister's birthday and I was going into Best Buy to buy her a new Kindle since her old one shattered. I'm looking around and just trying to get someone to unlock them for me, and this guy comes up behind me and asks if I need help. I turn around and realize he's not an employee, just an older guy. I was very confused and thought I heard him wrong. He was literally undressing me with his eyes and I've never been more creeped out in my life. Him.
Do you need help?
Me. No, I'm okay. Him.
I just saw you from outside and thought I'd follow you in and see if I could help you find anything.
Me. That's completely unnecessary, thanks. I basically booked it the fuck away from him and walked around the store, but he was following me trying to talk to me. I weaved in and out of the aisles and then walked out of the store and pretty much ran to my car and locked the doors and left. I was so paranoid about him following me. I went home and ordered the Kindle. Side note, this is my mother's story, not mine. My mother lived in Michigan for most of her life and of course attended the schools and University of Detroit, Michigan. When she got into university, she took interest in a good-looking man who was a year ahead of her, I think, don't quote me on that. His name was John. She told me that he was charming and even spoke with her a few times. As a charming man with his looks, almost every girl was swooning over him, including my mum. Now, my angel of a mother is quite shy. She wanted to ask John out, but she never mustered up the courage. At some point in time, this man asked my mum's sister if she wanted a ride home. Knowing her, she happily obliged and hopped into his car. My mother's sister got home safely and my mum greeted John from her doorstep as my mum's sister walked through the door. After a few months of seeing this charming young man around campus, my mother would wave and say hello. John was even in some of her classes, for a while. On July 30th, 1969, John Norman Collins was arrested for killing numerous women, 1 to 7 plus. My mum said she never felt such disgust for a human being, due to the fact she was in such close proximity to a cold-blooded murderer. Her sister even rode in his car. Both my mother's and her sister's names could have ended up on the list of women he has killed. John, I wish you had never met my mother. Random coincidence, John was arrested on the same day as my birthday, July 30th. I just moved to a new city. Had a few friends but still wanted to meet new people and maybe a cute girl to date. I began using Tinder, which I had fun with in other cities. I matched with this gorgeous woman, way out of my league. Her profile was funny and interesting. We get to chatting and she's flirtatious and clever, and let her drop she went to a top artsy school in France. So I'm intrigued and also thinking, she's out of my league, why is she so interested? So I decide to Google her, which is not something I used to do before every date. Usually this will bring up a Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. But when I clicked enter, her name came back with like 125k hits, news articles, videos, etc. Chronologically, the weirdness is this. As a teenager, she was one of those women who start up correspondence with serial killers and had been engaged to 2 on death row before they were put to death. Next, she was engaged to her 6th grade English teacher in her early 20s. He was famous for having falsely claimed to kill Jean John Bennett Ramsey. For this, she was on Good Morning America saying he was going to use her to recruit 6th grade girls for a sex cult. Lastly, she became a high-end escort in this city and had a fairly popular blog about it. In general, not shaming the sex worker community, but still, this was like sprinkles on the weirdness of the whole thing. After seeing these things, I was intrigued, / creeped out, by her and found out she was the adopted daughter of a local billionaire. I decided this shit wasn't worth it and deleted Tinder the day before our date. The next day she messaged me on another dating app asking me if I was still going to meet her for a drink. Let's not meet.